I got very complacent with what I was doing, and just very much was stalling from January this year up until when the pandemic happened. And I think I was bringing in around five and a half to 6 grand a month. Consistently from January until was it end of March, something like that, when we went into the lockdown. And it's weird, you would think that something like that would almost send you the other way, but what it did was, and why I think this is so important, and one thing I lead by now, is put yourself in uncomfortable situations and you strive so much more, you do so much better in that. Because I was comfortable, being comfortable is so dangerous, because I was just comfortable at this level. I wasn't looking to kind of strive further, but then as soon as we were put in that situation, I'd lost 70-80% of my revenue down to like 2,000 per month, 1,000 per month. It really kind of turned the tables on me and made me realise that I need to get going on this. Suddenly I had that motivation kick from that point, and as soon as I could, we grew the agency from that point at about 1,500, 2,000 a month to now being at 12,000, 13,000 a month. So, that was huge for me, and having that, and then realising that I need to keep putting myself in those positions, those uncomfortable positions, keeps me going now.
Sup guys, so we have a very special interview today. I've got Loukas with us from Hambi Media. This is probably the most requested student interview that we have done to date. Loukas, of course, works with me on a personal level with a personal brand, but we first met each other through one of our training programs. Loukas launched a digital marketing agency, Hambi Media, and it's safe to say this guy is paving the way for how things should be done. So Loukas, thank you so much for being here today, man. Firstly, we like to start off by having a bit of backstory for the context of people that don't know who you are already. How did you stumble across social media marketing? How did you stumble across me? Give us a bit of a picture.
So I always kind of grew up knowing that I wanted to kind of get into business. I knew I wanted to be my own boss. I know I didn't want to work for someone, and that kind of was instilled with me through my family. My dad's kind of paved the way for that with me, as well as my granddad. So I always kind of grew up knowing that. I remember from a young age kind of, going, when we would go to like the beach down in Bournemouth, I would always go off from my family, and the kids would be like playing in the sea, and I would go off and just pick up shells off the floor and then start selling them just, on the side to people. So kind of from that point, I knew I loved the nature of business, and wanted to kind of get into it. And again, I think this is where I connected with you on a level, because I remember you saying somewhere, how you thought that to get into business you needed to have the next Uber or the next kind of great invention that's going to change the course of the world, and really that isn't the case at all. You can take an existing model and turn it on its head and do it in a different way that it hasn't been done before. So yeah, I kind of went to university, studied film production. I was always really creative. I'd grown up editing a lot, and that's kind of what I absolutely love to do. And I thought up until the end of uni that I wanted to be a director. I thought that's what I wanted to do. And again, there's similar characteristics, I guess, as being your own boss and directing a film, because again, it's, as you kind of build a film up, you're again writing the scripts, you're finding actors, you're budgeting. So again, there's so many aspects that are similar. But then towards the end of my film degree, I realized that I didn't really have that same level of, even though I thought I was quite good at it, I didn't have that same level of passion and drive that, say, some others on the course did, that knew that no matter what, that for the next 10 years, they were going to be living on sofas. They were going to be all up and down the country in different countries. Any money they earned would be going towards their next film. And that grind that it took to be a director or to make it in the film industry, I realized wasn't necessarily for me. So I was self-aware enough to kind of pivot after uni and think about how I could use kind of my creativity and, say, the business side that I really enjoyed, and merge the two. So I ended up going into advertising and working at a big publishing company here in London. Absolutely loved that, learned loads about the advertising game. it was really useful because very much lived that shift from offline to online media, and that shift from, say, print advertising to online advertising. And that's kind of when I stumbled across your content. Must have fallen into one of your funnels and from my job. And I'd never heard about social media marketing before. I was really happy with my job, earning good money. Came across one of your videos, watched it, and I was like instantly hooked. So I remember it was a Saturday night, and it was when I was still living at home, and I was just watching something with my parents, and I watched it on my phone, this video, and I went straight to my room. I think it was around 9 p.m. And I basically just binge watched all of your videos. And this was like at the start of the social media marketing school. So,
yeah,
right at the kind of start of your kind of whole growth. And yeah, that's where it all started. I think I finished all of that content, then bought the course the next morning, and started building it up from there on the side of my job.
Great, that's so cool. I never knew about the shell thing. I like that, picking up the shells on the beach. That's great.
Yeah,
that's great. I can't imagine it made too much money though.
No. I mean, I genuinely remember it. We made about 25 quid. And I remember one of the hooks that we used to try and drive the sales of it is that we wanted to kind of give 20% to a charity. And we did that, but that really kind of endeared the public into it. And we ended up giving, most of it to the Shooting Star Trust at the end. So
I love it. That's brilliant. Oh, mate, that's great. But Loukas, the one thing which is like big that springs out to mind for me, which is like really different about your story and other people's, is that we often hear about people who have come from a sales background and jumped into an agency and built a successful agency. You've come from the delivery side, and you came in a similar sense that like when Joe Hides, who's obviously now my business partner, started, he came from a video background and he wanted to make like a hybrid video agency, and of course he didn't end up doing that. But you've kind of gone across with this hybrid content Facebook ad agency. You've got the video, you've got the content, you specialize in automotive, and we'll go on to that. But you came from the service delivery side as opposed to coming from the sales side. So how was it jumping into sales with, correct me if I'm wrong, no sales experience?
So, yeah, I mean, I did actually have a bit of sales experience, and I was always a bit of an extrovert anyway. So that wasn't ever an issue for me. But again, it was like a massive learning curve, being able to have the patience to do it off your own back. If you're kind of, when I did have some experience in a sales role, you're very much targeted on those calls. But when you're doing it for yourself, I think, again, there takes like a level of willpower to kind of make sure you keep going with it. So yeah, I was lucky enough to have a little bit, but.
Mm-hmm. And I presume you've been so used to pay per job roles ever since. So at the start of your agency, were you charging just for content blocks, for projects, or were you signing up clients on retainers from the start? How was that looking?
So again, I think this is a really important point because, you have an incredible course that taught me everything I needed to know about this business model. But I think what's important is using your unfair advantages and adapting that accordingly if necessary. So for me, if anyone out there starting a business, I'd say take a step back, look at what your unfair advantages are and use that to your advantage, because we live in such a noisy world now. There's so many people trying to do the same thing that if you have an unfair advantage over someone else in a certain area, then you're gonna be picked before them. You're gonna exceed great in a better way to them. So for example, I was in automotive advertising and I also had my creative background from film school. So what I made sure that coming out and starting my agency, one, I incorporated the skills I had creatively, that we added that onto one of our services. So for the most part, we would do a mixture of ad hoc one-off pieces of work, as we've done with you before, but then also we would incorporate that into our packages. So for instance, a gold package, you would have all of your social media marketing, your organic content, your content strategy, your paid ads, but then also we would come in once a month and batch shoot all of that content for you as well, which was really, really popular because a lot of clients, they don't like having to create that content and send it to you because they're obviously very busy people. Yeah. So that was obviously one of my unfair advantages. And the other was the automotive world and my kind of knowledge of that. And again, you know, coming out and really looking at what kind of my niche should be, that was a really, really useful area to delve into and use that to my advantage. So approaching automotive companies and saying, look, I know the automotive market. I've lived and breathed this shift from offline media to online. I know the cars, I know the magazines that you guys advertise in now. And I know how to market your brand socially. So again, that was really, really important. It's one piece of advice I'd say for anyone starting an agency.
That's mega, man. And I think one thing that I'd really like to know about automotive, and it's the same sense. I almost always put automotive in the same category as real estate, in the sense that I was always confused over when marketing for this industry, because I've never worked with a automotive company or a real estate company as a digital marketer. Are you selling the individual cars, or are you advertising the brand as a whole? Because I always thought, okay, as a marketer, this must be extremely time consuming if you're trying to advertise every car which is coming to market, or if you're trying to advertise every house which is coming to market as a real estate agent. So how's that looking? How do you actually advertise for automotive?
So again, it completely depends on the client, but we work with a lot of luxury, say dealerships. And for that, what a strategy that works best for us and best for the clients is building that online legacy, that online community, which is led by value. So building out a content strategy that positions someone in their team as an expert, that we do say Q&As with the audience. We do owners chat. So we're looking at kind of some of the owners of the cars and delving deeper into their car collections or the previous cars they've had. Because again, that works really well, breaking down that personal barrier. Doing, walkarounds of the cars, doing drives in the cars, buyer's guides, implementing all of this content that basically turns their model on its head. So what we say to our clients is, rather than being a automotive company, let's say an Aston Martin specialist that also creates videos and creates content, we flip that on its head so they become a media company that is also an Aston Martin specialist. And again, that's what we do with our clients to build that online legacy and that community that works really well as part of a three-dimensional strategy alongside the targeted ads. So that targeted ad side would be a lot of brand awareness, but then once you've built that community and that kind of presence and that foundation, then you can start running more kind of conversion-based ads. But again, that's not the way that buying a 80 grand car works. Really, you buy into the brand, and that's what we're building, that online brand.
That makes perfect sense. And it's so true, because like when I think about all the people I've dealt with on automotive, I always go through the same people. Like once you've established that relationship with a brand, you always end up going to the same people, or at least looking at the same group. It's like Supercar Driver, the group I'm in on Facebook. Those are such tight net groups of people. Yeah. And like those communities, they cross over to each other, and there's like a certain group of automotive companies which are like competitors of other ones, and there's hierarchy, and it's like the automotive gangs. And no, that's cool, because what we're looking at there, as you said and described as three-dimensional, it's a strategy which goes beyond just trying to get direct sales. It's about entire brand building and community building as a whole, which ultimately, with any product, if you can get a community behind a product, you don't have to worry about spending cash on ads, because it'll just build a life of its own.
Exactly. And I think the only, the difference is what it requires from the client is a little bit of patience. Because again, it's not, you don't get that gratitude as you would with, say, an e-com client, that you're getting your direct ROAS, how many weeks down the line. It's very much a process for honing in on that. And, a phrase that you've used is that snowball effect. And that's very much what it's about before then you really start seeing that direct ROI. Yeah. But then obviously on the other side, if you've got a more general dealership, you can run lead generation ads and conversion ads that, carousel conversion ads that are more directed to individual cars and say test drives of those cars, because it's a completely different model.
For sure. So that's like after you've already built that existing community up. Lucas, I
Yeah.
remember you mentioning to me before, and you've mentioned in the academy that at the start of lockdown and the start of the pandemic, you hit a point when you were around 6 figures in your agency. You then lost, like, correct me if I'm wrong, around 75% of your client base. You're now back to 6 figures within the agency. Can you paint us through that picture and what happened there and how you recovered the business?
So yeah, I mean, so I'm someone who has always led my agency with being very self-aware and not letting the money dictate where I go, very much leading with happiness, which I think is really, really important. Don't look at what other agencies are doing and what numbers they're hitting. Very much follow what makes you happy, and then the money will follow from that. So I was never in a rush to kind of be at 6 figures within 3 months of my agency. And I was very much kind of enjoying the process that I was doing, but not necessarily pushing it. And to be honest, it got to a stage where I'd been doing my agency for around 6 to 8 months. I was really enjoying it, doing a lot of kind of content for clients as well as social media marketing. But then I very much fell off the whole sales thing and you know, outreach and implementing that into my day. And I kind of got a bit, I don't know what the word is, but complacent. Complacent is the word. I got very complacent with what I was doing, and just very much was stalling from January this year up until when the pandemic happened. And I think I was bringing in around five and a half to 6 grand a month, consistently from January until was it end of March, something like that, when we went into the lockdown. And it's weird, you would think that something like that would almost send you the other way, but what it did was, and why I think this is so important, and one thing I lead by now, is put yourself in uncomfortable situations and you strive so much more, you do so much better in that. Because I was comfortable, being comfortable is so dangerous, because I was just comfortable at this level. I wasn't looking to kind of strive further. But then as soon as we were put in that situation, I'd lost 70-80% of my revenue down to like 2,000 per month, 1,000 per month. It really kind of turned the tables on me and made me realize that I need to get going on this. Suddenly I had that motivation kick from that point, and as soon as I could, we grew the agency from that point at about 1,500, 2,000 a month to now being at 12,000, 13,000 a month. So,
nice.
You know, that was huge for me. And having that, and then realizing that I need to keep putting myself in those positions, those uncomfortable positions, keeps me going now.
Well, talking of uncomfortable position, first of all, congrats, man, because most people don't have the capacity to do that. People will normally give up when shit hits the fan. And I couldn't agree more. I perform best when I'm in a corner. I've always been the guy that's left things to the last minute, and then I smash the workout. When I'm in a corner, I'm fight or flight, and I just get shit done. And so I think sometimes that's not a bad thing. If you get shit done, then you get shit done. So first of all, congrats. That's huge. And you've done such a good job. And it's been amazing to, on a personal level, see your personal growth, not just in the business, but as a person as well. And you're talking of like tough moments, tough times. The agency losing its revenue is obviously a big thing. Then you've scaled up to now where you are on like around 12 grand a month. But then you have other problems as well. You have service delivery, right? You start signing up new clients, you're fulfilling all these services. All of a sudden you're way too busy, and now you can't handle everything yourself. I know for a fact that you've just taken on a new member of the team. You've taken on a new sales member of the team. And I saw on your Instagram that you're looking to hire a new content creator as well, which is awesome. So I presume you're now in a position where things are a little bit too intense for one person.
Yeah. So again, that's it. That's the important thing. And I guess it's great that we've grown again this quickly. But again, rapid growth is great, but you got to be able to fulfill it, and it's amazing that we're growing like this, but it means that we really need to be growing the team out and making sure that we can deliver that same level of quality, because what you see so much is that people take on too much work, and then that kind of that quality level that they set for themselves slowly is dipping, and they start losing clients. And again, retention is arguably more important than acquisition. Mm-hmm. So I'm growing the team, and I think again, it just depends what model you want, because as an agency owner, there's the outsource model, there's I guess the in-house model. And it just completely depends where you want to take it. So yeah,
I think you've done things right by focusing on high quality content and service delivery as your first and foremost North Star. Like that's like, I literally recorded a YouTube video today preaching about how the reasons why we've signed up 6 clients in the last 14 days as an agency and why, what we've done differently. And putting client results first is at the forefront of that.
Massively.
And so you've done that, and you're focusing your time on client satisfaction, on delivering a good service, and you've now taken on this sales guy. And I know from the last time we recorded our most recent vlog, I was really impressed with how your sales guy was doing. Can you give me an update on that? How have you managed to get any conversions through that yet? How was that relationship? How have you got that structured for the benefit of everyone else? Maybe not exact finances, but how are you managing that? Was that quite hard to get set up?
Yeah, again, it's, I've never managed someone, and it's very much a learning curve for me. And I've always said that you need to manage upwards. I think that's so important. Again, it's something I learned from when I was managed at my previous role, how important that is and how much they can learn from you. So I'm very adaptable in that sense, that I really want to learn him to kind of tell me how he can grow. But we started off doing loads of mock calls, again, very much teaching him the ins and outs of social media marketing. And we very much got in place now a model where he's got a structure to his day. So he knows that he needs to do 30 effective actions a day. He needs to do 20 new pieces of outreach a day. And he has normally 2 hours that he does for new outreach, 2 hours that he spends on follow-ups, which is obviously really, really important, and a 3-dimensional outreach technique. So again, this is something you talk about a lot, but we do, he's now at a stage where he's doing Loom videos, he's doing DM outreach, he's doing cold calls, which again, I think you can't beat cold calls in my opinion. So that's kind of how that looks. But we're very much, I want to build a culture in my company that kind of is fun, and that kind of keeps him going and keeps him motivated. So we do something where if he sets a certain amount of meetings per week, on that Friday, we'll get a deliverer of his choice. And again, just little things like this, just to keep him motivated and keep him kind of moving and going forward. But I know personally, from being self-aware and knowing where he wants to get in the company, I've then looked at where his final kind of position, where he can see himself being. And anyone looking to hire, I would say, speak to that person, find out where they see their end goal at being within the company, and then reverse engineer that. So I know that although he loves the sales and he always wants this to be his focus, he loves writing content, like written content. He's amazing at this. He's done some journalism before in the past. So I'm ensuring to kind of, to keep that enjoyment of that area alive, and doing something else that diversifies his role a little bit. So he does, 20% of his time is put towards doing some actual written content writing for our clients.
That's cool, man. That's actually really interesting you said that, because I had a similar conversation with Tom. Tom is our new accounts manager, and we've discussed him before. Now, Tom passed his probation last week. So Tom, if you're watching this, congratulations. And he's now a full-time member of the team in the agency. And we had him on a 3-month trial period. He's been managing our client ad accounts, doing an exceptional job on running those accounts. And one of the first conversations we had was, okay, Tom, where do you fit in this? Why do you want to be part of Affluent? Where do you fit in this? And he was very open about the fact that he said, look, I recognize that I am one of the first full-time employees of this agency. There's obviously me and Joe. And so he knows that me and Joe have other agendas. We've got multiple businesses. We're working on the agency, building the agency, instead of working in the inner mechanics of the agency. And there's going to come a time where we need a general manager, where we need a managing director, where we need a top dog. And ultimately, that's probably where Tom will progress to if he stays within the company. And it's great to understand someone's end goal so you can cater to that. It's like Connor, who's our new senior consultant for the Affluent Academy. We had a very abrupt conversation, a very straightforward conversation of exactly what he wants to achieve from being in this company. And we're working towards that together. And that ultimately is him building a team of his own within the company as well. And I think when you align with other people's goals, there's so much happiness across the board. And I think when you then separate yourself from being an employer and what you need someone to do, and the selfishness that, because it's easy to be selfish. It's easy to think, okay, well, I'm going to hire this guy and they need to do this for me because I'm paying them cash. When actually, like, people don't need cash. Like, yes, you need cash to get by, you need cash to live. But once you get past a certain threshold, it's not about how much cash they're being paid. It's about whether they actually enjoy the job, whether they feel gratitude from the boss, whether they feel like they're part of a movement, part of a company. And I think that's
massively
really important for anyone, because I've gone through hiring people and firing people because I've hired people for the wrong reasons, and I haven't focused on their happiness, and therefore they haven't delivered a good job for the company.
Yeah, it's like looking at what fulfills them, being as transparent as possible you can with it. Yeah, finding out what they find interesting, where they want to get to, and then working back from that. Because yeah, I think transparency is so key. Because if they could be hating it, you could be loving what they're doing for you, but they could be hating their job and their role, and you don't know about it. And it's such a simple thing to change if you create that relationship.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, and open up those conversations. I say to the team all the time, is there anything I can do right now to make your life easier? So all the time. Like, it doesn't mean like, okay, I'm going to commit loads of time into building out some entirely new system, but I'm not going to be doing their job for them. It just means, is there something within the business? Is there a shortcoming? Is there a issue? Is there something that makes your life hard? Is there something which annoys you? A small little detail that I can change within the company that'll make your life easier. And we'll always discuss that. And so I think having those very open, transparent conversations with your team, having meetings every week, speaking to people daily, it's really important when nurturing people. And it's especially important for online businesses, because we're not sat in an office all the time. It's hard to nurture that relationship. It's hard to keep someone motivated and on the same mission as you at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. I hate that corporate stuff, how it's so, the hierarchies in them, that you feel that, they're on different floors and you never even see them. And it's such a divide. I really hate that.
Yeah, for sure, man. But brand building is obviously something which is at the forefront of what you're doing with your agency, because, and anyone who's watching this, go check out, I'll put a link in the description of Hambi Media's Instagram page. At the end of this, you'll be in the description. And of course, hopefully your new website will be live by then, which is looking amazing. I had a sneak preview of that. Loukas is doing a very, very good job at setting the foundations of his brand. He's got a new illustration style that he's going across with on Instagram. And I can't really explain it. You're just going to have to go check it out and see what he's doing. But he's got a really great content strategy, and he really knows his shit when it comes to brand building. So go check that out as a fantastic example of how to build a brand within your agency. Because at the end of the day, brand building is what separates a one-man band freelance agency who hasn't got a website, who operates under their name, which was me in my first year, over a real tangible company which is seen and recognized for the results they get for other businesses. Even if you're the best marketer in the world and you're getting 100 times ROAS, right? If you're operating as a freelancer, you'll never get as much recognition as an actual brand.
Yeah, 100%. And that, to be honest, was the game changer for my business. Again, that happened during that transitional period over lockdown, where I was like, the kind of socials are all right, but I want to build a brand here. Like, I want to build something that is different from any other Instagram page that offers value within this world. And yeah, we invested way more into it, but that is completely translated into profit now down the line. We get clients come to us just because of the content that we're producing on social. And one thing that I'd say is lead by example. If you're kind of preaching these content strategies or social strategies to your clients, do them yourself. Because again, the first thing they'll do is look at that. And it's been such a great way to leverage work for us, creating that value-based content that is different and out of the box. Because value is one thing, but if you can do it in a different and original way that breaks through the noise, that will win in the end.
100%. And you're doing something right, because now we've come full circle, and now I'm a client of yours. So you quit your job, you started off in the social media marketing school, and now I'm your client. So you've done something right, and you do a massive job. And there's obviously going to be a long-term relationship, and I'm excited to see where it goes. And obviously you guys are going to see more of Loukas on this channel. He's going to be coming down once a month. We're probably going to increase that in the new years. So yeah, it's exciting times ahead. I'm conscious of the time because I've got an Academy Live Q&A in 8 minutes. So we will round up, and we'll definitely have to do a catch up of one of these in the near future. As I said, it's not like you're going to be distant. So guys, I'm going to put a link in the description to Loukas's Instagram, and whatever other socials as well, Loukas, if you can send them over to me. Go check out Hambi Media, and just watch and learn, because they're doing a really great job at the moment. And they're paving the way for how to brand an agency. I think that's one of the biggest takeaways to take from what he's doing. So yeah, Loukas, you got anything final to add?
No, that's pretty much it, Jordan. And obviously, thank you. Can't wait to continue working together. And yeah, we've got loads in store for Jordan's channel. So definitely stay tuned.
Love it. Thank you so much, Loukas. I'll speak to you soon, man.
Cheers, bro.
Guys.
See you later.